you're on your own. Follow your dreams to a place, a space, the grace that takes you home. But let me tell you,
Welcome back, everyone, to the place you all know and love, the home here of VR Esports, the VR League, live from the ESL Clone Studios, brought to you by Intel, and I'm Jason Kaplan, joined for the last time. This is basically a goodbye show from us.
Bittersweet day, folks.
I'm so angry. I'm just knocking shelves shut back here behind the desk. This is actually our final show. It's a recap show. It's not even going to be covering any games in particular, but it's kind of to get you guys ready for what's coming up in a few weeks' time. We got OC5 right around the corner, September 26, 27. $220,000.
San Jose, California.
And we've got a nice little show to actually tell you about, what games are going to be there, how teams actually got there, and obviously what teams will be representing your region or your state or country in the main event.
Basically just a really nice way to round out the season here, folks. We're going to be going over all the games, all the action, and we'll also have a couple interviews throughout the course of the show today, too, to highlight some of the players and the scenes of those respective games.
We missed an opportunity, Blue. We could have come in tuxedos. We could have had like a little mini awards show for our favorite plays over the course of the whole event. But no, we kind of fluffed it. We're just wearing our shirts. But anyways, guys.
We needed best accidental, breakage was a category. The best time someone broke something in the middle of play.
The best accidental suicide, which was happening last week when we were in Leicester in Onward. And the player tried to talk on his radio to his team.
Right.
It said, grab the knife, shanked himself in the neck, and then did fall over. But anyways, guys, let's take a look at the schedule and what games we'll be talking about today for you. We have Echo Arena. We'll obviously bring you the teams that have made it through in that one. But we also have a game that we haven't covered here yet. Two of them, actually. Unspoken and Sprint Vector to come up later on as well.
It's going to be very cool. We'll get to take, at least here on the stream, we'll get our first peek into those scenes and how they've been doing for this season. And in Sprint Vector's case, get a real first peek look and talk to some of the players from that scene and see how exactly things have been developing over the course of the season in Sprint Vector.
And then we have Onward, which we did just conclude the entire qualifiers just last weekend in the UK. And it's all leading up to the big show, OC5, coming up in September. But to kick things off in the show, we are starting off with Echo Arena. So let's take a look at the game really quickly, and then we'll kind of get you guys up to date on who has made it through and who will be playing.
In zero gravity, Players fly faster. Passes go farther. Strikes hit harder. Stakes get higher. And victory tastes sweeter. This is Zero G in the Echo Arena.
So that's a little bit of an insight to what Echo Arena is about, but maybe we should explain it further for people who are just joining us who don't know much about Echo Arena, because to be fair, there's a lot of people who watch other games like Onward, like Sprint Vector, that might not know about the game. So as you saw there in the little trailer, it's basically a zero gravity mix between many different sports with like soccer or football if you're over here in Europe, mixed with like a little bit of, I want to say like ultimate golf or something like that, kind of in the same sense, all trying to score the goals.
Basically a really cool game, some really cool physics involved in it too. So if you're interested in VR at all, if you already do have a headset, we highly recommend that you do check it out. It's a very unique, very interesting game, and definitely worth a look into. And it's available, I believe, exclusively on the Oculus Store.
Yeah, so make sure to check that out if you haven't just yet. But to kind of go into now OC5, we need to take a look at all the qualifiers. And honestly, was it the last 2-3 months of time we spent covering most of this? And you can see here on your screen how teams did get qualified into the world qualifiers that we had happen actually, I think about 2 weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken, 2-3 weeks ago. It's a long process, Blue. There's a lot of things you had to do to get there, but we have our teams finally, made it through and teams ready to represent us.
It's very true. We started out with a multitude of teams going through these big brackets. We're having pretty good turnout, actually, so I want to give a big shout out to the community for helping us out with that. But now it's come down to our finalists. As you've seen a few weeks back, we had our world qualifiers for both the EU and North American regions, and now we do have our final 4 teams that'll be going to Oculus Connect 5 on September 26th to the 27th to play for the prize pool and, of course, the right to be the top team in the Echo Arena domain, I guess we could call it.
San Jose, California.
San Jose, California.
That's nice. But let's actually look at the EU qualifiers so you can see who's going to be representing you from Europe. And actually, funny enough, this was an interesting one for us because we had some roster swaps happen, before these kicked off. And, Blast, who was the #1 team in the EU, who went head-to-head against Eclipse and Leicester back in July. They were no longer the same 3. Afanter, actually the man who switched over from them over to Gravity, funny enough. And we had to see like a new team with them, and it was cool to see how the teams have adapted over time.
Yeah, it made it actually very interesting as well, because a week before we had the global qualifiers for Europe, there was the last stage finals where I personally found out about the roster swaps for the first time and blasted that really didn't look good. Like, honestly, look, they weren't even really going to be a contender coming into it. But thankfully, at the end of the day, despite the changes, thankfully they just had to fill in for that one tournament that happened a week prior to the world qualifiers. They came back and they still put up a pretty good fight at the end of the day.
Yeah, and credit to them to do so, especially considering what all happened. And this was just Europe. Let's take a look at North America so you guys get an idea of the teams who were competing in that one to represent North America in the main event. You had teams like Eclipse in there, NE Plus Ultra, Oma Gators, you have Metamercs, Velocity, 11.5 as well. There are a couple of new teams that actually not really heard too much about, like Team Joker and Team Atlas. But we had, the best team in the world, as we already found out from OC4 with Eclipse there, and you would assume that they would make it through yet again to OC5.
In a lot of ways, this tournament, unfortunately, due to the circumstances, became a battle for second place, since Eclipse, as far as we can tell, has continued to hold their dominant stance, even going back again to the finals of the first season of the VR League, which we were calling the VR Challenger League back then. But even going back then, they were still the most dominant team in the world, and they've continued to hold that slot, even going back to the Invitational we had about a month or 2 ago now, and including in this qualifier. So, like I said, in a lot of ways, it was kind of a battle for second place in this qualifier.
True. That was kind of the story of North America, unfortunately. Yeah. But it would be a true battle of second place. And ladies and gentlemen, I think it's time now to take a look at what happened throughout Europe and happened throughout North America to get us to OC5.
Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the VR League, hosted here from our Cologne studios and brought to you guys by Intel. Backlash going up against Team Flux, the first round of OC5 qualification here for Europe. Torn, as he's now closing inside of the three-point zone. It'll be one more pass over to Sundance. He's got Zula to his left, but he tries to go directly in himself, and it works, giving Flux the opening round and as well a 1-0 lead in the series. Currently in the hands of Torin. Is he going to go for the goal himself? He's got a teammate nearby, but he doesn't need him. Swoops around that last island before securing another 2-pointer.
gets stolen away. The shot from downtown comes in, and it's gonna land. Cyanister, what is that?
Ramus will take possession, trying to take it down. A quick launch sends Ducky flying towards the other side here. He'll be able to easily pick it back up. He's got some interference coming in, but it's way too late.
Denial gets a good pass back up. Actually, a great pass to Ambient, and a great forward pass as well to Vanisher. Problem is he's 1v2, but he does get the score nonetheless.
We do see a nice steal coming out from Ambient there. In fact, oh my goodness, Ambient, what a shot from pretty much directly at midfield. And they're going to try to move in for one more. It's off the backboard once again, as at this point, it's just target practice.
That match is done and dusted.
So again, we'll be taking that one 22-5 and overall 2-1. Getting into this match, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, it is Smash Dash versus one of our top contenders in Europe, Aftershock. But unfortunately for them, first Sendo target sends the disc right inside of the goal. There, Maddie with the wind up on that one as well. He does have Kurgan waiting right by the goal, but he doesn't want to pass it to him just yet. Now doesn't know. In fact, just sends it in himself with a three-pointer. Aftershock will take full control. Boop gets a pass off to Lone Gecko, and Lone Gecko will secure his blast again. Cannot be stopped here. Gecko's got the pickup, down to Boop. Boop, I think, was supposed to go for it, and he gets it. Blast will push ahead, qualifying them for the main event at Oculus Connect 5. They'll be the first from Europe to do so. For their opponents, they can still qualify too, but they've got to go through one full best of 5 again to be able to do it. Beatrix will pick it up on the halfway point, over to Affenterror, who then immediately flings it into the goal.
Tortorba overshoots the disc. He's going to be all alone. Finally, Team Gravity's able to get back in time. It's just one person, too. And Viatrix gets the block, and you know what? That block just saved them and got them through now to Oculus Connect 5.
NE plus Ultra are bouncing around with possession right now.
7 seconds, by the way. So they have to score now, and they will.
Oh, no. Now it's gone down 11-11.
Bad actually sitting behind the goal, trying to distract them, trying to go for punches potentially. Brennan coming in, and he gets the score. And NE plus Ultra gonna pull off an upset here in this first round. Does go for the shot, or at least a clear. If anything, 50 seconds left. He's buying time, and he's gonna have a three-pointer, and that's almost the nail in the coffin now.
We've got 11.5. Again, with possession. Sadly, that hasn't really meant much, unfortunately, for 11.5, though, as they haven't been able to come close to lining up a lot of goal opportunities for themselves. This could be a change-up, though. Nicely shot by Dash. Pass going to be a little bit panicked, but it goes to Simeon. And actually,
pretty.
Yeah, nicely done. Less than 10 seconds remaining here, 11.5, still only having just a floating man to go across the arena. Eclipse with them taking it, win the series 3-0, qualifying them for Oculus Connect 5 as our first representing North American team to be there. We still have our grand finals here for the North American region for seeding purposes. Cinebergs are quickly running out of time to bring this back, even though it is very, very close for them. Now, the float coming over. Lemming's going to be picking up the disc originally to try and start this up once again. Simeon receives it next. Now quickly over to Palador, sending it right back up to Simeon. He'll make the goal attempt. Palador will make sure that it goes in. Directly right past someone from the Metabergs. Will still stun there. Now Simeon with the pickup. Oh, another quick follow-up from him. Pressure right up in Metabergs' face, and it's only taken them 10 seconds to establish it. Pass over to Simeon. Simeon's going to take it in and secures the extra 2 points, giving it to Eclipse in 3-0 fashion. 14-12 is the final score here for our third and final round. And with the 3-0 victory, Eclipse is going to take the #1 seed position in North America. But Metabergs themselves just making it to Oculus Connect 5 proves to be a massive feat for them, as they're going to be our second representing team coming in for the region.
So now that you saw how all the matches did go down, we can see here the two teams now make it through to OC5 Blue. It's Blast and it's Gravity. And funny enough, Gravity, the one to come back from the loser bracket side of this to actually take the grand finals.
Yeah, absolutely the case. So, of course.
Well, loser bracket. They came through to actually win twice in the grand final to actually take first seed, which is going to be really important as we get later on into the show.
I had to go through that repeated series, but I would definitely say the best teams came out on top of this bracket for Europe. That's certainly the case. As we saw back in Leicester a couple months ago, Blast had already proven themselves to be a very capable roster. And even with the changes to the roster that we did eventually see, in this qualifier that would move Affenterror, who we'll be speaking to in a little bit, by the way, that would move Affenterror eventually over to Team Gravity. Blast still put up a great fight with their new roster. Gravity put up just as equal of a fight, and it's going to be really fun to see them potentially clash going to OC5.
Potentially. They do have to obviously go through some North American teams before they can get there. But speaking of North America, let's take a look at that bracket. You guys can see the teams that have made it through there to represent you in your region, and none other Eclipse, the team we expected to get through, doing it in a solid fashion. But the team that we kind of, as you mentioned before, a battle for second place was kind of like the true story of NA. And we saw Metamercs actually beat 11.5 to get themselves through as the second team.
Yeah, so overall, though, the big message coming out of that North American qualifier is still very much that Eclipse showing up as a dominant team. Some very close games, don't get me wrong, but still a dominant team when it comes to actually closing out those series. So they're gonna be a tough team to beat. That's the case. But the thing is, they always seem to lose their way a little bit on LAN, and we're gonna have to see if either the second place NA team or one of the European teams might be able to slip through them when it comes down to that grand final.
And now that we do have our 4 teams, 2 from NA and 2 from EU, we should take a look at the OC5 brackets, because as we were kind of expecting into this one, we were assuming number 1 from EU would play number 2 from NA, and number 1 from NA would play number 2 from EU. And that's how it went down. And that's why it was so important with the Blast versus Gravity match of who came through first, because then you avoid Eclipse in the initial match that you did have happen.
Well, let's take a look at that bracket now and see how we do end up having it. And it will be Eclipse taking on Blast in their first round match. Second match, we'll see Metamercs go up against Team Gravity, as we'll have another NA versus EU match there. And then obviously we'll be continuing on from that point forward to the grand finals, where we will claim our Season 2 VR League Echo Arena champions.
And we'll find out if we're going to have a back-to-back champion or if we'll have a new champion crown. But let's actually take a look now at the money that they can win from this, because there's a big chunk of it. Obviously, playing throughout the entire season, you did have some time to win some pocket change here or there, but a whopping 8,000 for first place. Split the other 10.
Still gonna sneak away some of the extra money.
But 18 grand for first place, 10 for second. Just keep in mind, third, fourth, obviously is a big factor, this one, but you increase your prize pool by so much more of getting that number 1 seed from EU, of avoiding Eclipse, because you have a way better chance of beating the other team than you do against them, beating Metamercs, obviously. So almost doubling your prize money there, like that's super important.
Yeah, very much the case. And obviously, again, all of our teams are going to be walking away with something at the very least. So just by qualifying, all of these teams have already made it into that 4,000 category. But the further they get into the tournament, the better.
3 players, too.
Yep. The better their take-home bank will end up being at the end of the day. So it's going to be exciting to see who comes out on top. That's going to be in just a couple of weeks' time on September 26th to 27th. San Jose.
OC5.
$220,000.
$220,000. But now, luckily for us, as you saw Gravity there, we do have a representative for Gravity to actually talk to things about. It's going to be the man, the terror in the goalie. The terror goal. Screw it. Let's just say it's just Affenterror. It's Affenterror we're going to be talking to here and get some quick little information, insights from him. First of all, Affenterror, do you miss me?
A little bit.
Only a little bit. I'll take that. But how are you doing today, first of all? Obviously, you have OC5 right on the corner. How are you feeling today?
I'm pretty good right now. I got my drink here. I'm watching your videos, hearing your beautiful voices. So I'm good.
Your drink, like your water or your Coke, right?
Yes, water.
Yeah, got it. Perfect. But let's start things off. I mean, first of all, how does it feel to be representing, Europe and representing on a new team with Gravity at OC5?
It's a lot of pressure. But so far I like it. We did a lot to earn that spot, and in the end, everything worked out for us. So now we're just getting ready. The last 2 weeks were a little bit. Yeah, we took a little bit off, so to say.
Okay.
And training will start soon again.
I would imagine so. So tell us a little bit before we get too deep into OC5 itself. What exactly went on with the roster swaps that we saw after the UK LAN that happened back in July? What exactly brought about your transition that moved you from Blast eventually now to Team Gravity?
The main focus was I was friends with Vitrax. We played a lot in the meantime, and he just got me to let's go.
Okay.
That's just right.
Relatively simple. I was expecting more drama, like, you and Boot got in a fist fight at the event.
Okay.
Usually there's a bit more of a story behind those changes, so. But that sounds like everything worked out okay, actually, for you guys. That it seems like a pretty casual change that's worked out. Yeah.
In the end, yes.
All right. Well, then let's kind of talk about in general. How's your experience been with the VR League? How has these last couple of months treated you with Echo Arena?
It's my first time playing competitively and on that scale, because I didn't think this will be this big, but it's getting pretty big right now. And so far I like it. It's awesome to see yourself in some articles in the web and stuff, and all the footage. Yeah, I feel nice. I feel
Having
good about it.
two exceptionally famous and handsome casters talking about you while you're playing as well, I guess that helps.
What, please?
Having
I'm gonna
having
make him
two
repeat it.
exceptionally handsome and awesome casters talking about you as well, that must be nice.
Oh yeah, especially when they're dabbing.
I don't know what that is. I don't know what Dabman is. I don't know what
We're
you're talking
having
about.
trouble getting him to do that again. But let's talk a little bit about, again, your guys' kind of prospects going into OC5. I know you were just talking about how you guys took a few weeks off before the event, but with the minimal preparatory you guys have done, I mean, how are things looking? Do you think, obviously going into the event, Eclipse still kind of looked to be the favorite as they took the first season and they still managed to take the finals of the Invitational Land that happened back in
It's
July.
you.
Yeah, against you guys as well. So, I mean, do you guys think that you're going to be able to stand a chance against them this time? Should you come up against them, say, in the finals? Or is it looking good for maybe that we might have an Eclipse repeat? You know, what's your thoughts on the competition going into that event?
Eclipse and Blast are both very hard counters. That we will do our best, and we will see at the end who comes on top. I'm pretty sure that we will give a very good fight, and our main target is to win.
Okay. Well, then who are you going to be practicing against? Are you and Blast going to be partners coming into the
Mainly
event?
Blast. Mainly Blast. We partnered up for the last couple of weeks, so we can get the maximum out of training. Sure, there's some substitute. Like Aftershock, still the third best team in Europe, so we'll play against them. And pretty much when nobody's online, we play against ourselves.
Play against yourselves?
Yeah.
What do you mean? Can you actually explain that a little bit more?
There's basically there's goalie training going on, there's pest training going on, something like that, just in private, yeah.
Okay.
Just like drills and things like that.
I feel bad for your teammates. I mean, goalie training, they can never get a shot off against you.
I need the training,
You
not them.
can't see. We can see him.
Yeah.
He's just
We saw the nod, but
he's just trying to be kind to his teammates there.
Well, what's the thing you're most excited about with OC5? What are you looking forward to the most about the event?
OC5, meeting all the guys again. Also meeting the guys that are behind the game. And just the general trouble around it. Like, I was never in the USA. This is my first time in the USA. I will take some days after that too. And
There you go.
I'm just happy to be there in the end.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun, and we're looking forward to have you there as well. So beyond that, even let's talk about beyond OC5. I mean, what are you excited to see in the future of Echo in general? What are your thoughts? You know, looking past this season of the VR League, what are you hoping to see the game kind of accomplish over the next, let's say, like 6 to 9 months or whatever?
So far, the game was always about the community for me. So it's a completely different idea about the community when you're inside the game, gesticulating with your hands and speaking to people that are completely new to the game or are regular in the game. And so far, I just hope the game grows. I hope OC5 will be a big part of it, why the game grows. And that's the idea about me. It's like the game is always competitive. It's always stressful, and it's great.
Well, is there any prospect to you playing a different game actually competitively? You know, let's just say another game comes along, prize pools like double or triple what Echo Arena has. You know, is there any chance you'll try to compete in both, or are you just locked down to one game?
I wouldn't say so. No, I will try Echo Combat too, because Echo Combat is also really fun. It's basically the same. Yeah, it's the same motion base. So you have all the same features as an Echo Arena, just a completely different playstyle. It's actually a shooter. So I hope that will bring more people into the Echo VR game itself, and then they will spread out about both games.
Okay. Well, Aventur, thank you much for your time. Wish you the best when you get to OC5, as well as a safe flight on over there, because I'll tell you this from personal experience, it's a long one. It's a very long flight. And with you being tall, it's going to be a very uncomfortable flight for you. Unless somehow you got business class, then I would be
I'm
jealous.
trying to book extra leg space and extra waist space and extra every space I can get. So I hope I get the best flight possible. But yeah, thank you. Thank you guys for having me. And yeah.
Maybe Blue and I will see you soon. Who knows?
I hope so.
You heard it. He hopes it. He hopes it. All right, guys. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we do have to head to a short break here. But when we come back, we'll be looking at the Unspoken as well as Sprint Vector.
One city. One stage. One trophy. One champion.
And another kill to find Fallen.
One moment. ESL 1 New York 2018.
Try box. Stairs.
Nothing great ever happened without a witness.
Oh, you guys saw that?
With the power to capture comes the need to share.
Check this.
Followed by the eyeballs and loud mouths chomping at the bit.
That was nuts.
The fate of the game rests in your hands.
Check this out. No.
Oh my God.
Leave nothing to chance. Game, record, and stream without compromise. Only on Intel Core i7.
Start your esports career now at play.eslgaming.com.
And welcome back, guys. We are here now, moving on to our second game to talk about with OC5 Blue. You're looking very dapper today, and it's time now to talk about a game that actually you've covered last year at OC5, and a game that I've never cast before.
That's true. It'll be the Unspoken, and we're going to take a quick little dive into that. Excuse me.
Maybe
and
a dip. Who knows?
Okay,
I'm not feeling like diving today.
Dip, a dive, a drip, whatever floats your boat, I suppose. And we'll take a quick look at how exactly the Unspoken has been developing so far this season.
Prepare to step into a whole new world with the Unspoken from Insomniac Games. In this urban magic fight club hidden just beneath the surface of the real world, you will assume the role of a spell-slinging archmage, manipulating the energies around you to alter the flow of battle. You'll wage a fantastical battle across multiple locations spread throughout Chicago. Whether you're hurling fireballs on Midway Pier, forging shield-shattering spears on the rooftops of a store garden, or dodging mystical blasts of lightning amidst trash-strewn Elmhurst Avenue, these chaotic coliseums will bend and react to the otherworldly forces being wielded by these arcane combatants. With an innovative gesture cast spell system using the Oculus Touch, a variety of classes with unique abilities and playstyles, and an arsenal of artifacts, there are tons of ways to defeat your enemies in any one of these immersive, dynamic 1v1 arenas. While you'll ultimately have to deplete your opponent's health pool to win, pure offense may not be enough to counter out your opponent's arcane loadout. An array of defensive and utility spells can also be leveraged to gain enough of an advantage to secure your victory. Timing matters. Often the split-second difference between a fast-cast gesture or a longer charge-up will swing momentum in your favor. So choose your class, lock in your artifact selection, and seal your enemy's fate with an unstoppable onslaught of magic.
You know, it's funny, Blue. I think I recognize the voice in that video.
Yeah. Things work out that way sometimes, you know?
Just you have a very familiar voice, I guess.
Yeah.
But you know,
I don't know who that guy is.
Probably some scrub. Okay, focus up. We have a show to do here. But we should talk about Unspoken. You know, obviously you did the video for it right there, or some doppelganger of your voice did it. You cast it last year at OC5. You can compare OC4. Your twin, your evil twin.
He's more like neutral good, you know? Yeah.
He's just misunderstood sometimes.
Yeah.
But you could talk to us a little bit more about the game.
Yeah, so basically the Unspoken is probably the closest thing we have right now to a real like fighting game, I guess you could say, in the VR sense. And essentially the way it works is there'll be two players, one on each side. They'll spawn in and they'll have a series of pedestals that they can teleport between. And besides that, it's a series of motion controls. You have your smaller attacks that you basically just charge up in one hand and throw it. Your other hand for most classes is usually going to be a shield as well, and you're able to block the basic attacks with that. But then as the match goes on, there's going to be shards that will spawn over the course of on any one of those pedestals, and you have to teleport to them, pick them up. That'll activate more powerful abilities, which you can use to either waste your opponent's shards and basically get them to run out of mana, or just do massive damage to them, basically. And it works in a series of rounds. Each map is a best of 3. Obviously, the first person to get knocked out is the loser of that round, and the first person to win 2 rounds takes the map.
That's pretty simple. That's pretty simple right there. Thank you, Lucy. That's why they had you do the video.
That's what I'm here for.
That's what you're here for. But let's actually take a look at the whole process that it took to get through to find out who our participants are going to be at for OC5. There you can see it pretty much comes down to points and the rankings over time. We had 7 cups. The top 4 points are in points, and then the top 4 in the last chance qualifier did meet up to find out the top 2 from each region, from each world qualifier, will be participating at the main event. So 2 EU, 2 NA. A lot of cups being played overall, but safe to say we have the best players representing the best regions.
I think that'll be the case, and we'll probably take a look at those guys in just a second here as well. But basically, very similar qualification run to what we had for Oculus, very similar format. I think this is the, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe this is the Oculus Connect 5 bracket right here. So we ended up with Charizard, who, if I remember correctly, we actually saw the Season 1 finals. A lot of these guys we saw at the Season 1 finals as well. Yawning Soldier will be taking on Charizard in that first round. We'll also have Rukafilth going up against Flush Go-Go.
I just had to do it because his name's Yawning Soldier.
Oh, okay, that worked out. So we'll see those two taking each other on in their first round matchup as well at Oculus Connect 5.
Of course, we should probably take a look at what they're playing for, because they're not doing it for free. There's a lot of money on the line here for these players as well.
I hope not.
I think if you work it out, because it's one player, right? It's not a 3-player team like we had with Echo Arena.
Solo game.
They actually make more money playing alone than they do playing with teammates.
That's true. I think the Echo Arena guys get like $1,000 more because theirs was like $18K for first place.
For first place, yeah.
Yeah, so
but
I think a little bit more.
4,000, so you get extra 250. Actually, no, that's not right. Never mind. I'm wrong. Because only 3 and there's 4 people. It makes no sense at all.
You get a comparable amount of cash.
You get money. You get money for going there, and that's not a bad thing because you get paid to go there. You get paid for hotel. You get food covered. You get to meet us maybe if we're there. I mean,
I love that you always describe meeting us as like a major highlight.
For some people, it is. You know, at least that's what I like to think. That's what I like. Thank you, production.
I wouldn't want to meet me. So,
but we do have though another interview actually to talk about the game, to talk about the whole league and how it's happened. It's Flush Go-Go, who's actually made it through not only in one game but he's made it through to 2 different games. But before we get to that, we need to take a look at the other game he did qualify for from Sprint Vector.
Ladies and gentlemen, beasts and monsters, the moment you have all been waiting for is finally upon us. Welcome one and all to the Sprint Vector Championship Intergalactica. I have gathered here today the galaxy's most skilled contestants to compete for your viewing pleasure. Did they come here for vengeance? Do they fight for love? Do they hope to earn their freedom? Is it for money? No matter what the prize may be, they all come here to win.
You better stay back there.
I didn't make this course too hard for you, did I?
Only the fast survive.
From downtown.
You're blowing it.
Vroom, baby.
Homie, this is my day.
Win, lose, as long as we get the ratings. Good game, guys. GG.
I'm not gonna lie, I actually got tired just watching that of how much work you have to do while playing. But hey, you know, it can help you exercise, help you lose a little bit of weight if you're in there as well. But we do have Flush Go-Go, who's qualified not only for Unspoken, also for Sprint Vectors we just saw there. And I think we can even hear him now live here on stream.
Yes.
So first of all, sir, how are you doing today?
I'm doing very well. Qualified for both games, of course, so I'm doing great.
He's like, are you like on like eBay or like Amazon? Like, I want this, I want this, I want this when I get there.
He sounds confident at the minimum there. So I mean, tell us. Go ahead.
I mean, I sound confident, but that's not for Sprint Vector. I just happened to get in there.
Well, so talk to us more about this. Actually, you know, how does your practice schedule work? How did you actually manage to qualify for both of these events? How do you kind of juggle it between both the Unspoken and Sprint Vector?
I mean, Unspoken is my main game. That's the game I love. That's the one that's still my favorite to this point. So there, I just once I got into that after getting my Oculus, I just trained there and I built my way up to the top. And Sprint Vector came along, it just showed up in the VR League, so I decided to join in with a couple of other of the Unspoken players and join for fun, and I just got second place, and I got second place again, and it just kept on going up until the end, and I just happened to get in there. I didn't put nearly as much effort in as into the Unspoken.
So I guess let's talk about Unspoken first of all, and then we'll move on to Sprint Vector. How'd you get into the game? You said you picked up your Oculus, and that was one of the first games you played. How'd you kind of get into it, and then how'd you decide I want to try to play this competitively?
I mean, it wasn't one of the first games I played. It was like a month or two after I got my Oculus, so it was like trying it out. But once I got into it, I didn't let it go anymore. I saw the pamphlet that the VR League was starting as well, so that worked out great because I'm a very competitive person as well, but right now in VR as well, but also before that on flat screen games, just 2D. I also tended to go into games with competitive scenes, and yeah. What was the rest of the question again?
No, it's basically like how did you get into the game? Yeah. And I mean, you pretty much told us pretty flat out right there. So how do you feel like, your game went for you personally? Do you feel like you still have a lot to, room to improve? There's still a lot of things you can learn in the game to kind of take yourself to the next step? Or do you feel like you're pretty much like at the peak at the moment?
In Unspoken, I feel like there's still a lot of room for improvement for sure. Like if the scene were to be even bigger and like more people that push each other way farther than we are now, because right now we're pushing each other, but it could go way faster, I think. There's a lot of potential in Unspoken as of how high the skill ceiling can be.
Well, talking a little bit more about, again, your individual performance, we know you said a little bit about how you feel like you kind of snuck through a bit with Sprint Vector, but how do you feel you're going to be, placing when it comes down to it at Oculus Connect 5? Where do you kind of see yourself ending up among the top 4 at that event?
I mean, in Sprint Vector?
Oh, either game, really, either game.
Oh, either game. In Unspoken, well, like I said, it's my favorite game, so that's the one I'm going to be focusing on most, for sure. Last time I just got second, got defeated by Charizard in the grand finals, of course, so I feel like I could get around that space again. I should be able to get into the grand finals again. I hope, for sure. Like, all the players going there are good, and it's definitely still going to be a battle for it. And after that, like everyone, I hope to be able to get away with first place, but I'm decently confident I should be able to make it into the grand finals.
And kind of beyond the games itself, what are you looking forward to about Oculus Connect 5? Is there anything you're looking forward to kind of meeting up with some old players again, or just getting to experience California?
Eating Charizard, probably. In the finals, I'm guessing.
But
yeah, for sure. I'm really looking forward to meeting everyone again, because last time at IM Katowice in Poland, it was great meeting everyone, and with Charizard as well. Like at the end, there was the after party with all the players, and everyone just got along, as far as I know. So I'm definitely hoping that happens again.
I hear that's very easy to do when people are drinking. Very easy to get along with everyone. Last little question for you here before we do have to unfortunately move on with the show. How did you prepare for each of these games going into, like, what's your kind of regime, your training schedule come into the Unspoken and obviously into Sprint Vector with the main event right around the corner?
Well, with Unspoken, it's not like that game requires less endurance and stuff as probably Echo Arena and Sprint Vector. So it's a lot about just playing the game, getting better, and trying to find new strategies maybe, or getting better at the strategies you're working on to get in there. So it's just playing a lot, trying to play every day at least, of course. And that's my preparation for Unspoken.
And for Sprint Vector, yeah.
Yeah, and for Sprint Vector, well, of course, the endurance plays a lot more of a role there. But I still, I don't know, I never really saw myself getting into it, but I just managed to qualify. I didn't really prepare too much for it, which kind of sounds dickish, but I can't help it.
Well, okay, then last question here. Do you actually see like some weight loss or anything, or maybe some like muscles coming out that from playing the game? Because Blue was talking to me during the video, and he was saying like it's very tough, like it's very draining on your endurance and your stamina.
I mean, I've started training, just going for runs as well and stuff, and start training my endurance more, because you definitely work up a big sweat while doing it, and. Yeah, I don't know. I've always been rather skinny, so I haven't seen myself lose too much weight. I've probably remained around the same, but it's definitely helped for my physical condition.
I can see you're just going to come to OC5 with like these like raging biceps, from playing the whole time. Unfortunately, Fletch Gogo, we do have to move on with the show, but thank you very much for joining us, and obviously wish you the best of luck when you get to OC5 in a couple of weeks' time, actually.
Yeah, and definitely we'll be seeing him there on the September 26th and 27th. So thanks to you once.
$220,000.
Yeah, $220,000 in San Jose, California. So thank you once again for your time, Flush, and we do look forward to seeing you compete at the main event in just a couple of weeks.
And now to kind of switch topics a little bit, we'll go on to Sprint Vector and kind of talk about the whole format and the qualification process getting through into the main event, because there was actually 3 cups held, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
3 cups held, 2 in NA and 1 in EU, to find out the players who will be participating in like the final qualifier to find our team, or to find our players. Sorry, I have to say, I can't keep, it's hard saying teams. Let's actually take a look at it though, so you guys have an idea of what we're going to be talking about here, because it's very difficult path, I'd say, with 4 NA players, 3 EU players, and funny enough, there was even 1 qualifier, I believe, on Steam.
Yeah, so the game
for North America.
So the game's available on the Oculus Store and Steam as well. So I think they wanted to give the Steam players a chance to be able to jump in and qualify themselves. And as we can see right here, actually, we did have our top 3 from EU qualifying, our top 4 from NA, and then the winner of the Steam Cup that happened, again, North American Cup. But I believe the winner of that cup went directly through to the main event.
And you can see obviously how it did work out for them, and that's gonna be tough, because if I'm not mistaken, it's gonna be 8 races. And actually, sorry, that's how it was done. Sorry, I had to go back a little bit because I was wondering how it's going to work at OC5. But they had to do 8 races to determine who had the most points to actually get through from each region and to get through from each qualifier. So it's definitely going to be a tough game. And honestly, it's going to be a real test. We talk about how many games we've casted Blue now in VR, and we talk about endurance and stamina and strength it takes to play. This is definitely going to be one of those games that we're going to see at the main event that really test a person's true, physical abilities.
I would argue, so the thing is, we have a lot of games where there's kind of a merge between the game skill and the physical skill, or it's more endurance than anything else, I would say, that's involved in it. I would say this game definitely shifts as the most extreme when it comes to the actual, physical amount of input that's required. This game, from my personal experience, is a bit of an FYI here, but just from my this game definitely is the one that drains you the most from a physical level. It's a crap ton of fun, don't get me wrong. Love this game, but it definitely takes the most out of you from a physical perspective compared to all the other games that we have on the VRL circuit right now.
Well, you can see our players there. Let's take a look at the prize pool, what they'll be playing for to try to take home a chunk of money for themselves. Of course, if you make it through OC5, you are guaranteed money, albeit only 500 for 8th place, but you can see how that really stacks up as you get higher and higher up the ranks.
Absolutely, and that'll be 3K going to our first place team out of Sprint Vector, going all the way down to $500 for the team. Or now you got me doing it too.
See, it's so difficult. We always cast team games.
That's true. It's a bit of a divergence here now to be talking about this. But yeah, just making it to the event, as you can see, there is at least going to give you $500 for your time. But the further you make it, similar to our other games, the more money you are going to be able to take home for yourself. With the top prize once again being $3 grand for the team that comes out on top of the Sprint Vector circuit.
Yeah, this is gonna be exciting, Blue. We've already covered now 3 games of the 4 that we'll be looking at OC5. We still have 1 more to come up. And it's going to be the one I think most people are going to be really interested at seeing too, because this is going to be like your not even cookie cutter, but your cut and dry like FPS game in a VR environment where every bit of movement that you can do works out for you, whether you can lay on the ground to see under trucks, to see under things, to kind of sit in between a building and look down a very narrow way to try to get people. And of course, your communication within your team. It's going to be onward, and we'll be taking a look at that when we do get back from another short break.
One city, one stage, one trophy, one champion,
And another kill to find Fallen.
one moment. ESL 1 New York 2018.
Try box. Stairs.
Nothing great ever happened without a witness.
Oh, you guys saw that?
With the power to capture comes the need to share.
Check this.
Followed by the eyeballs and loud mouths chomping at the bit.
That was nuts.
The fate of the game rests in your hands.
Check this out. No.
Oh my god.
Leave nothing to chance. Game, record, and stream without compromise. Only on Intel Core i7.
Start your esports career now at play.eslgaming.com.
Welcome back from that short break, everyone. It's now time to move on to our last game of the day of our last show of the whole season, Blue. It's going to be Onward.
It's sad.
It is sad. Because you know what? Not only is it our last show here for VR League, it also means Blue goes home tomorrow from his 2-month stint in Cologne.
It's been a long time here in Germany, but I think it's time. It's time for me to head back to the other side of the planet.
It's the first time him and I have worked together. I've enjoyed every moment of it. I'm not being paid to say that. I had some good time with you here, but unfortunately, you do have to leave. Yep. And now we need to take a look at Onward, actually, as this could be our next game coming up, as we're going to be talking about. Let's take a look at the trailer so you guys get an idea, if you're not familiar with what the game is, of what it's about. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is Onward. And funny enough, Blue, this is something that actually started back in June when we had the Leicester Invitational happen with teams invited out to play in that one. We had Pansy actually cast that with Radar Head and Nightfire as well. And it was interesting, actually, to say the least. We had, obviously, one team come through as the main event. You can see here. Honestly, the studio is fantastic, by the way, too, and how they fit all those players in there and how awesome in general the whole show is. But we had SMC Tactical, who even played in the one we just did last week. And, of course, Global Chem there on top of things.
Yeah, and Global Chem, much like Eclipse in the Echo Arena scene, has really proven themselves to be a top-of-the-world dominating team and have continued to do so in both their own region and on the global leaderboards for the VR Master League, who has been our partner in running this part of the VRL for Onward specifically, so I want to give a big shout-out to them real quick. But yes, they've remained dominant and apparently continue to hold that even at this event, and at the end of the day, we're able to actually take the event all the way and claim first place, which would later on, I don't believe they were aware of it at the time, but they would later on become the qualification run for them that would see them into Oculus Connect 5. And they, of course, were our first team, only our first team, to be able to make it into that main event.
Yeah, and that's the team that I think everyone's going to be out there looking forward to potentially beat when we get through to the main event, as they have, like I said, been the first team to qualify through. But maybe we should take a step back here really quick and just kind of describe, what Onward is for the people out there who aren't familiar with the game. I think the best way to describe it, and the way we've been doing it for the most part, is it's very similar to Arma. Very similar to how you play on that game, where it's very tactical based. The time to kill is extremely fast. All it takes is 2 bullets or 1 to the head to be dropped. And communication can be very difficult. This is a 3D environment. This is obviously played with the VR headset. So you don't have a minimap on your screen the whole time to know where your teammates are. You have this little tablet you have to pull out from behind your back to see where they're located around the map. Communication can be very difficult because you have to keep in mind of when you're talking to someone, you have to physically take your hand off your gun, turn it to your radio, and talk. you don't know if that their teammates are going to be surrounded by enemies, and you're potentially giving away their own position against that too. So it's very difficult to kind of play, very hard to master. And we've seen some recent improvements to the game too, if I'm not mistaken, with the 1.3 patch. We've had spectator updates as well. Seen a kill feed in there is really nice. Seen grenade trajectories on top of that. And it's a game that a lot of people out there are really passionate about.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not only that, things like grenade trajectory, we've had some, in my opinion, fairly game-changing aspects added to the game. So there's almost classes to a certain degree now as well, where we can have designated marksmen who have the capability, if they want to spawn in with this gadget, of course they have to spend points to do so. But if they want to spawn in, they can have a drone, for instance, coming into the matchup for themselves now. Oh, look at that, Jason. That's your favorite activity right there. But yeah, we can have players spawning in with drones now. You have the capability to hack your opponent's tablets and find locations via that method as well. The players have been a little bit slow, I think, on implementing some of this, but I believe, I could be wrong on this, I believe by the time we get to OC5 in a few weeks, all of those abilities are going to be considered legal, and they will be in play for the grand finals, as far as I'm aware.
There's a lot of good ones in there, like you talked about, like with the drone that you can use to spot out players, which having information in this game is probably, that's not us, having information in the game is probably one of the most powerful things.
The drone specifically, I think, has the nature to change the game in a pretty drastic way, simply because a lot of the reason why the game plays out so slowly right now, just because teams that are on offense don't really go into a round with a whole lot of information about where their opponents are positioned. The drone just having, you know, a free player that you can throw in there and basically to get some free information has the potential to change that up immensely, in my opinion. So it's going to be really interesting to see how that plays out. Potentially Oculus Connect 5, more than likely probably later down the line as we look potentially, you know, to Season 3 of the VRL as well and things of that nature.
Well, I mean, speaking of the VRL, Onward is actually not even technically like a full part of the VRL, the VR League. Yeah. It's actually a part of the VR Master League, which is a community-driven league that kind of has been, I don't even know the correct term I want to use for this, but we've kind of not taken one of the games, but we wanted to cover one of the games that they had there, obviously for all the people at home and for the people who watch and play the game. And you could actually kind of run us through their website really quickly, Blue, to describe like how people can get involved with the VR Master League, as well as like kind of the qualification process into the whole Onward.
Yeah, so obviously the current season just finished up a few weeks back, and that was the lead up going into Oculus Connect 5. So we are going to be seeing the next season, I imagine, starting up within the next couple of weeks as Oculus Connect 5 concludes. If you're interested at all in getting into the action with the VR Master League, they have a league for both Onward and Pavlov, by the way, if you're interested in that too. You can go ahead over to the website, which is at vrmasterleague.com. You just kind of want to go over here, click on Onward, and from here, you'll be able to create your account at the top right. Once you've done that, you can then head over to the team pages, really anywhere on here, and you can see as well, they've got a lot of information on the home page, such as the matches that are available and things of that nature too. You know, recent matches that have happened, the news for the upcoming season. You can find your own way to get involved with that upcoming season, join a roster, and just, you know, get into the action, get into the competition, so to speak.
Yeah, and the funny thing is that we had Global Chem already qualify through as the first team, right? Then we had 3 more teams to find. 2 of those teams came from basically like the last chance qualifiers. It's the teams who finished in 2nd and 3rd place over the course of the season were already put through into the grand finals of these 2 individual tournaments. So we had Boss Fight and we had Beginners getting through to that one. So every team that was not placed, well, it was pretty much placed outside of top 7, had a chance to play in these tournaments. And then you obviously had to make your way through to the very end. We had to play against the big boss team to get yourself through into the main event. We had our A finals, which was Silent Purge up against, let me just make sure I got this right, versus Animal House. Yeah, good old Steven. Can't forget him. And the winner of that would play against Boss Fight later on that day, which we did have happen. And we had, coming up on the 26th, it was Legionnaires versus Blaze, and the winners played against Beginners. So we had our 2 next teams to find. And I think we have a recap to actually kind of take you underway with what did happen, at least for now, with the Stage A finals. Welcome back, guys, to the VR League. We'll be covering the VR Master League and continuing our coverage of Onward today of one of our 2, technically 3 qualifiers for the last spots remaining for OC5, which is just around the corner. Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to get underway with our first map here. It's Bizarre's Animal House up against Silent Purge.
They need to find these kills as quickly as possible. Silent Purge will lose their first man on the way in. Down to RPT now as he's going to try to go for the 1v2 clutch. Has to make a run for the stairs, loops around it, and his opponent doesn't even see him. Down to a 1v1. Is there enough time left over now becomes the question. Less than 5 seconds. RPT sees it, and he gets the kill. Giving the round to Silent Purge with just a second left on the clock.
We do have our second map here now between Animal House and Silent Purge.
Oh no, he's right by him. In fact, no, he's sending the code. Oh, no! He sneaks it in right there, and we do see Animal House picking up the two-pointer at the end, literally right next to a member of Silent Purge, and it goes unnoticed. And with that, they take the map, tying us up at 1-1 now.
Wait, is he trying to go for a sneaky play on the uplink?
Might be.
Is he trying to do it again?
He's got his tablet out. Here we go.
Someone's got to check. He's still in the smoke. RPT, get around that corner. Grand Theft Auto, or you can. No way. No way this is going to happen
He's
again.
close enough, I think. He hasn't moved in a while, so the code's in, and there we go. Animal House, their third uplink in the series. We expect nothing less, really, from the Animal House, so good job to them. They are moving forward, though, ladies and gentlemen, to face off against their next challenge. Boss fight going up against Animal House. Animal House just coming fresh off of their victory from their previous match.
Oh,
Waiting.
Kagan.
Oh, he wasn't
Oh,
seen.
Kagan. He has to hear them. He had to have heard them.
Can't really call it out, though. He's too close. He would give intel to his teammates. They're roving on the uplink, though. The code's being sent. Do they see it? No. The code's still going to be sent successfully. He doesn't even care that it. No. Did it get interrupted? No. Boss fight. Still managed to send the code in time, just as the man who is sending it goes down. Looks like he sent it just in the nick of time.
Get away, Green. You're too short. You must be this tall to play the game. You stole my magazine.
And Radar's going to miss the shots.
He's running around to catch him, and look, it works. Animal House will pick up the final round. He's down into a 1v1, but he's only got 40 seconds to either find this player and knock him out, or of course send the uplink. He's a little bit too far from that for that to be an objective, so instead it gets the long range snipe. Not really a snipe, more of a spray, but it gets the work done, and I'll just shut my mouth. Silent Knight continuing to creep around, looking for any opportunity. Makes the push forward, though, but no, shoots, I think, at a corpse instead. Mistook what the actual enemy was, and that is going to tie us up, ladies and gentlemen. Look at this, though. Nicely done. Scooby-Doo walking in, knocking out two players right from their backside. Didn't even know it hit him, really. Look at this, Scorpio wrapping around. He's got two in front of his crosshairs, knocks them both out. However, problem is he loses a teammate in the process, so it only serves to even out the fight.
2-1 for Animal House. They're one map away from going to Oculus Connect 5.
He's got a strong position established in the basement unless they flank around the corner. They haven't even seen him, to my knowledge, either. I think he's remained quiet this entire time. Yeah, look, he's going to walk right out. A little bit late to the party, unfortunately. And with that, we are now tied up, fully loaded set, 2-2 between both of our teams, and we go to a map number 5.
Oh no, so he gets the kill. Oh, he gets the down, not the kill though.
Scorpio's gonna run in here very quickly to try to look for a trade opportunity. No, the nade takes him down.
Was that? That was boss fights, that was a team kill. He tried to throw the nade at him and caught him with the nade in his hand. And then the nade that he had dropped to the ground and killed his teammate.
Still a long way to go, of course, for boss fight, but they've made a lot of progress with that first pickup. Now they just have to get themselves into the market and up to the uplink. And we can see them going for it. He's reaching for it. He's going to go for that cap. Again, we can't actually see what's on the tablet, but look. Kagan, does he see it? He's doing the uplink, I think he's punching in the code. Is he close enough? Yes. He stopped moving. That code is going in right now. It has to be with the distance between him. No, Kagan, he still hasn't seen him. I can't believe it. And there it is, ladies and gentlemen. Boss fight, send in the uplink code. And with that, they are going to be qualifying for OC5. They bring it back, sneak in the uplink one final time. And with a 4-3 final round score, they will be your first qualified team here this weekend for Oculus Connect 5, representing the Onward community.
Well, even though Boss Fight did win the slot into OC5, Animal House, and Steven in particular, has stolen my heart and won that at least, because that was actually hilarious. It was great to see a team with personalities like that playing. Boss Fight won in the end with that sneaky little uplink at the very end of the game, too, just sneaking it through.
Yep, and I'm sure we'll be seeing more of teams like Animal House in the future, along with many others that did participate in that qualifying run. But as you mentioned at the end of the day, it is Boss Fight that will push for the kind of expected result, I think, for a lot of people. And we will be seeing them instead at the main event in just a few weeks' time.
Yep, and that was our second team. Still had another team to find through these qualifiers with the B finals. We had Legionnaires play against Blaze, and the winner of that went up against Beginners in the finals. And let's take a look how the B finals went down and what team will be our third team representing here for Onward. Welcome back, everyone, to another edition of the VR League brought to you by Intel live from our ESL Cologne studios. Hey, we are going to kick things off with Blaze up against Legionnaires. It's a best of 3. Winner goes on to play against
Already
Beginners.
interesting.
And we're going to be on Tanker as our first map. No one's checking the uplink. What is happening?
How has he been allowed to get away with this? That's the real
How is
question.
it not
He's just
entered the
allowed
code
to
yet?
walk in. Where's the communication? Yeah, that's my confusion on this one here too. So there we go.
He's going for it. As long as they protect him, don't kill the last guy. And you can take this one. We see Kitten coming in from the side. He does take him down. Kitten's gonna prevent it. He gets a second. Oh my God, Blaze. So a one-on-one now, and he's just trying to keep their hopes alive here. He's gonna get the frag, yes, and take them at 3 apiece, but that was so dangerous. Gonna come in. Oh, hello. Hello, you're walking into it, son. And that's gonna be him going down. Now it's all in Verds in a 1-on-3. He's being fired up, and Legionnaires will take the round. They will take the map.
Now he's actually going to make a push because he knows he's got good coverage. Got himself very close proximity to the uplink. He's got to be really careful about how he peeks this. Oh, nicely done. Just going to run up onto the roof, and this player here from Blaze is none the wiser. He's going to try to run right up onto him, look to take him down, but actually no, they're going to be right next to each other. Mad Scientist executing everyone from Blaze.
He's
left
doing
and
it.
right, but oh my goodness.
They got the map.
Wow. Blaze sneaks up on the uplink while all this chaos was happening, while Legionnaires was destroying their entire attack.
And did he just get a second off of that? Getting Legionnaires back in this round. It's now a 2-on-2. 35 seconds and counting.
Just has to find the opening in the fence so that he can actually go for it. Sweeping clear for him. Checks that free fire in the corner, knocks it out. Only one remaining here for Blaze, and he's got to hold the line on the uplink. Otherwise, this could end. They're rushing him in right now. They've got control over the uplink position. Batman is found, and he's run over, giving the round to the Legionnaires along with the map.
We kick things off here in our best of 5. This is the onward qualifying match now between Beginners and Legionnaires.
We've got Kitten moving in. There's the first pickup for himself there. And definitely some frustration for the member of the Beginners. Went down, and he gets the second kill, too. Nicely done.
One down. That's Plenus.
Wood's still waiting just on top of the objective here, trying to hold off the push, and so far it's worked out well.
Fire as well.
They brought it down to a 3v2. It's just a rough objective overall for these guys to try and get access to. Legionnaires have tried to cut north, but he'll be gunned down in the street, knocked out, left with only one still standing here for the Legionnaires.
Needs to go for both of them, though. Gets the first, looking for the second, comes up the hill. And he does get mowed down, though, by Kensai. He's going to actually come with the nade. Throws in right by them. Hello?
Killinger, he knows he's got him around the corner here, but he needs to find the angle to pick him off, but it won't work. On the ground, he's going to be far too slow. We've got Woods still trying to fire back a little bit. No, another one is going to get dropped there as well, as it's Mr. Miyagi, I believe, this time that makes the push outside. Finds the pick, brings Beginners down to just 2 players left, and Mr. Miyagi's going to continue to just rip through every single one of them.
So we potentially get underway with our final map of the night and our final map of the regular season. The rush going to come in towards the house. Kenzie opens up one of the doors. Kensai, sorry. Mad Scientist rushes out. And oh my God, there was a team kill. He shot through the enemy and hit Woods. Woods could get back up and running, but that's a little bit of an odd thing to happen. Hey, gets both.
That's a quick goodbye to both of those players. Thankfully, the Beginners were smart about this. They do save a nade up until the very end. Has himself positioned behind a barricade so he can at least hold off any blatant attempts to rush up the East Street. DMT getting himself into a fight, though, knocks out one. A second from Beginners has fallen in the process here, too, but so are both players from the Legionnaires. So the Beginners will pick up 4 rounds in a row. A perfect performance here on Suburbia, and it will qualify them, ladies and gentlemen, for Oculus Connect 5. Beginners are your 3rd team that will be going to the main event.
And we'll see you guys next time in just about a week. And then there was 3, with them taking the victory there for Beginners, getting themselves through to OC5. And that led us up to our final spot here, Blue. And the final spot was determined just last weekend in Leicester, United Kingdom.
Oh, you had to say,
or
like
as normal people say, Leicester.
You did tilt all the Brits in the audience, didn't you?
Yep, I did have to.
First time I said it wrong to someone who worked at ESL UK, they like flipped out at me. They're like, "No, that's wrong," and then they like corrected me immediately. So I got to be careful with that.
I want to know who it was.
I forget who this was.
The show.
I forget who this was, but they definitely were really insistent about me pronouncing it the right way.
That's probably
so.
when Trump was visiting. That's probably why. Maybe.
Sure, yeah, I don't know.
But maybe we should take a look now at what happened in Leicester, because it was the 4th through 7th place teams. So the teams who overall within the season did place there, they got to participate and get a trip paid for them to come out to the UK and play live on the stage here for all of us to watch. We had Lemon Squad, we had SMC Tactical, we had Danglers, and we had G-Men all participating for that 4th and final spot into the main event.
Before the actual stream even began, as you guys can see there, we did actually play some of the initial matches off stream where SMC Tactical and the G-Men were able to claim victory in their opening matches, and we would later see them face off in the upper bracket. But first, we had a little bit of a taste of the action for the lower bracket for our initial match, I believe, as we saw Lemon Squad take on the Danglers.
Yep, and then we did have SMC Tactical up against the G-Men as our second match of the day. So let's take a quick recap of our day 1 there in Leicester, Leicester, Leicester in the UK.
A warm welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the VR League as we are live here from Leicester in the United Kingdom to find out which is going to take the last spot at OC5.
So we got Lemon Squad versus Danglers.
All right, we're going to be jumping into our first map now.
We already see an engagement now, but in the north. It's hard to see who it is, but ultimately, Executioner trying to hold off the team. He's going to be calling out the positions and hopefully getting wrap out with defenders.
We are going to be seeing Executioner picking up a whole lot of kills, and actually that's pretty much the entire team of Lemon Squad. Very close to it anyway, getting wiped off the board there. Then right brings us into a 2v2. One player from Lemon Squad, still Revival, able to bring it back up to a 3v3, but no longer, as Riboman finds the next kill against Caltrop, and as well takes out Quico. No, here's the cap attempt. Here's the sneak from Expediter.
3, 2, 1, it's over. Danglers get the cap.
I was going to say, has a pretty safe route to cross the street, too, but this nade, there's a big group of players, the Danglers, but he is caught off by the Executioner before he can chuck it out, so it is going to be the Danglers that take our second map, ladies and gentlemen. It's a very quick one, and that only taking 3 rounds to come to its completion. There's a team kill in the process, too. Polish accidentally knocking out Quico on the push.
It was a 3 versus 3 situation. It's another team kill by Quico! Another team kill by Quico, and it's over!
How did that happen?
I don't know. They had an opportunity there, and it's gone. With a minute 20 left on the clock, 5 enemies left. And it's over. Lemon Squad are out. Danglers are through.
This does guarantee, ladies and gentlemen, that our 4th team going to Oculus Connect 5 will indeed be a North American at this point.
It's going to be SMC Tactical going up against G-Man. It's time to get into it. The upper bracket begins as we have these 2 teams looking for the grand final.
Trying to play this to his advantage. Actually knows what the player is. Drives off a couple of shots. Going to be sitting behind the Humvee. That's a lot of protection. And he gets it.
Biggie Smalls. What a opening round. Look, this is what exactly was happening. G-Men now picking off those people.
Trying to cross the street. Going to fall, unfortunately. But the refrags aren't coming in. Actually, it's a team kill.
2-on-2. It's 1-on-2 now.
He gets a massive kill. Now it's 2-on-1. SMC Tactical. They need to rush towards that uplink.
Meanwhile, it's over. 404 picking it up. Land on Jordan. That gives 3-0 to G-Men. It's the power of sound. So sneaking up. He doesn't know that Chief Pineapple's in there. Will he check the corner as he goes past?
Chief turns around. Last second. Soda's going to be in right
field. It's
Soda
a grave attempt. Soda gets it. Same breath. A return shot on that is almost impossible. Landon picking up 404 though. Landon picks up. His teammates drop the gun. It's down to Sweetie. Sweetie's taken down. G-Men eliminated.
Finally, someone's going to rotate in.
It's so close.
404 comes in around the corner.
shuts it down. But SMC still win! SMC Tactical into the grand final tomorrow, showing what they're worth, showing that they're the team that is favorite for a reason.
And you can see there the results of those first matches we had on our first day in Leicester, UK of our Invitational, with SMC Tactical taking on the victory against G-Men and getting themselves through the grand finals. And blue, with Danglers being Lemon Squad, my boys, the Danglers, they had a chance for a rematch up against G-Men.
Chance for revenge against them indeed. And we would see not only that match go on in day number 2, but in addition to that, the grand finals that would decide our team that would go through and qualify, be the final team for Onward qualifying for the main event. So let's take a look at how exactly day number 2 played out.
Day number 2 kicks off here for the VR League as we are here for the Onward World Final Invitational, and we are down to just 3 teams remaining as they fight for an opportunity to go to OC5. As we will be starting things off with G-Men going up against Danglers.
We're seeing all of the defense crumble here as there's only one defender left on the objective, but he picks
He's gonna
up.
be seen. He's gonna be seen on the bottom. Executioner, I think that's him. He's gotta be so careful.
He's being flanked from behind your right. Oh, wow. And he's taken down. So if he gets the tablet out, it makes a little clicking noise. He will be heard.
The timing!
Wow, a trade. It's a one-on-one with 45 seconds left on the clock. This could go either way, ladies and gentlemen.
But they know where Swooty was. Swooty's gonna get the kill, and G-Man gonna save the round. And again here, Stumpy's gonna be joining his team for another time. Cheap Pineapple gonna be by himself, gonna get taken down. That's the last player out of G-Man up against 2. Are they gonna go for the uplink? Here's a one-on-one. Executioner is trying to go for it, but gets dropped. G-Man.
Oh, so close.
They're going to try to go for here. Stuff comes around the corner. Swooty's looking the wrong way, and that's going to be a big frag coming through for Danglers as they're going to lose one from the man. And the man looks like he will just hide away. This is the perfect time to just go for that. Don't go for the kill. Don't kill him here. And he does get the knock. He does get the point.
We could get the cap here. Biggie Smalls doesn't realize he's alone.
Oh my, he's on the other side of the tank.
Cap is happening.
He can do it.
The cap is going in.
Danglers
seconds away from taking this. They take it.
Never doubted my boys once.
I don't know if you can hear the celebration, but Danglers are ecstatic with that taking it. The crowd goes wild. Biggie Smalls giving the game away. There we go. Look at that emotion. Look at that happiness.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. It's the grand final now. Our winner will be moving on to Oculus Connect 5. Let's get into it. It's our opening map, and it's the Danglers taking on SMC Tactical. He knows potentially there's still players to his left side as well. It's a very risky position he's pushed himself into now, but unfortunately he's locked inside of it, so there's nowhere else to go. This is his final stand. He's picked up one, but does not see the push from Riboman in time. So the round closes out, and it's Danglers that pick it up to tie us at 2-2. And he just confirmed the fact that it's a 4v1 by checking things out. He will actually fall, though. Well, they're a little bit more ready to take that battle than his opponent, so he clears out his first house. Will be able to try and make a push towards it, but is cut down by Huddy Half just before getting into the inside of it. So it's SMC Tactical now, picking up their first round of the map. Danglers are getting a little bit over-aggressive as they want to make sure that that uplink is still safe. Now would have been the time to do it, however, as we do have a player pushed up and is going to go for the cap. It's Captain Soda as well, who has been our leader on SMC. And it looks like he's going to do it. There it is. There's the 2 points. SMC get it done. A straightforward push is enough, and they tie it up now. But this could be the very end of it here as he starts his run outside. His opposing player, Mr. Beefy, has heard him, is ready for him, and is ready to take him down. Riboman, the first step here, but he fails at it. So it's Mr. Beefy picking up the final kill. It is SMC Tactical that will claim the 4th and final spot at Oculus Connect 5 for Onward.
And now we have our 4th and final team. Let's take a look at all the teams now who have qualified through to the main event at OC5. Well, we don't have a graphic of it, but we can tell you we got Global Chem, we got Boss Fight, we got Beginners, and we got SMC Tactical there beating my boys. Little sad. To be fair, my boys did throw that one away. They totally had a chance to win.
You know, casters aren't supposed to be biased, right?
Yep.
Okay, just wanted to check.
Hey, they tweeted to me and thanked me after for, supporting them. When no one else would, when none of the casters would, I had their backs. And look what I got them.
There you go.
Not a spot at OC5.
Got second place.
What teams will be playing for at the main event because there's still a lot of money on the line for them to be participating. 25 grand for first place here, Blue.
Absolutely.
Sorry, 5 grand for first place, Blue. So we're
taking a lot of it now. We're just slowly taking more and more of the prize pool.
The honor of going, no prize. But you can see there, a lot of money at stake here for these teams. With 5 players each, obviously the prize pool is going to be bigger. But it's not just about the prize pool; it's about winning the whole shebang.
And we should mention again, it was a big victory for a lot of these teams just to qualify. You can see it. Our 3rd and 4th place teams are each going to be taking home 10 grand. That's $2,000 for each player, depending on if they want to split it up between their alternates. As always been a weird game in that we do have actual full-fledged alternates on the team, where a lot of other games, especially some of the other VR games, don't really have that. So might break down a little bit differently there, but just making it to the event guaranteed each of those teams at least 10 grand with the potential to bump that up to $25,000 if they can win the whole thing.
And speaking of the whole thing in OC5, we do have another interview coming for you. It's Thunder Pilot. He's going to be talking to us about, his experience in general. So first of all, sir, how are you doing today? If you can hear us.
I think we've got him in the call.
Are we unmuted, Blue?
We are unmuted. I did check that beforehand.
Is he there?
Thunder Pilot, are you with us?
Okay, so we're going to scratch the interview now, fortunately, because we don't want to wait until he, I think, gets back. Maybe he wanted to throw up hearing me root for Dangler so often, which is very possible. So instead of that then, obviously it's a lot to look forward to with Onward Blue, and I'm actually excited to see how this one goes. Obviously that last big update that happened for the game made it a lot easier to watch too, a lot more spectator friendly. The kill feed alone was massive, as well as obviously like the changes with grenade trajectories and whatnot. And plus when we were there, you guys didn't see it actually, when we were at the event, we had another monitor, another like TV screen off to the side of where our program monitors were that had just the map up. It had the kill death scores as well, so we had a lot more information to talk about, and obviously you could see where people were a lot easier. The game's getting there. I mean, it's early access right now, and they're definitely putting in time.
And we just want to give a big shout out as well to all those devs. We as Cosmos really appreciate that stuff, guys. We really want to appreciate your guys putting in the effort for that. So big shout out to Downpour as well as Insomniac as well that I believe did help out within the Unspoken and added a similar tool to their game. So thanks to you guys very much for making it easier for us and helping to push your game forward in these. So I think we might have our interviewee ready now. However, so let's see if he's here. Thunderpilot, are you with us? Maybe not.
Nice
Maybe
try,
not.
Blue. Nice try. So unfortunately, I think I don't know what's going on that end, but we don't have the time, unfortunately, to stick around and wait for it to be resolved. So we do have to head to a short break, but when we come back, we'll be doing the closing segment, the closing parts here of our final show live from the Clone Studios, brought to you by Intel. Blue, this might be the last time we ever see each other. Oh, God. No, we'll be back in a few minutes, guys, and we'll obviously talk about OC5 and what to expect.
One city, one stage, one trophy, one champion.
And another kill to find Fallen.
One moment. ESL 1 New York 2018.
Try box. Stairs.
Nothing great ever happened without a witness.
Oh, you guys saw that?
With the power to capture comes the need to share.
Check this.
Followed by the eyeballs and loud mouths chomping at the bit.
That was nuts.
The fate of the game rests in your hands.
Check this out. No.
Oh my God.
Leave nothing to chance. Game, record, and stream without compromise. Only on Intel Core i7.
Start your esports career now at play.eslgaming.com.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, that was our last break of the show here. It's now the time to talk about OC5 and what you guys can all expect. We now have those 4 games there going to be brought to you, and obviously the best playing head-to-head. But Blue, can you kind of explain to us what is OC5 and what was your experience at OC4 last year?
So OC5 is a really cool convention. It's basically a celebration of all things VR and all things Oculus. A lot of really cool dev talks, a lot of presentations by the people at Oculus as well, talking about exciting developments that have happened over the past year, potentially maybe some new products that might be coming up from the Oculus line as well.
Some wireless headsets?
I don't know. We'll have to wait and see exactly how that happens. But a lot of cool talks. There was like we even had some of the big heads at Oculus, I think, giving some talks about game development and things like that as well. So a lot of very cool things going on. It's a very much like a meet and greet sort of convention. But in addition to that, now with the addition of the VR League, we have esports there too, and it's just another thing added on top to the value of what Oculus Connect brings to the table in the San Jose area.
And what was your experience like last year when you were there? Because you obviously were casting OC4.
I think it was, we had the first thing I want to call is we had a really cool stage last year. And I think we might have something very cool this year too. Don't want to spoil it in advance, but I think you guys might be seeing it in just a second here.
Have you seen it?
No,
Do you know something I don't know?
I've been told about it. That's the thing. I don't want to spoil though. But last year we had this, we had this really cool like projection map screen that took over the entire stage in this massive room. It was really cool. It was a really cool set. That was probably my favorite part of the whole thing. I just thought we had a lot of like really cool new VR games that were being demoed out there as well, and just a lot of like new technologies you could try out that surrounded VR and Oculus tech. So just a lot of fun overall. It was a lot of fun to like kind of check out the stuff that was in the convention hall.
Well, maybe we'll get to see the actual stage here because we're going to take a look at OC4 and what went down. Of course, talk to you again one more time about what's coming up this year at OC5.
Welcome to OC4. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the first stop here for the VR Challenger League, live here from Oculus Connect. Today is all about Echo Arena. The VRCL, the first step into VR esports.
There's money and there's fame, there's pride on the line.
To the VR Challenger League.
Let's jump into the action here in first semi-final. See a little back pick up and slams it down. A very fast goal.
Engasm has woken up and it has gotten angry in there.
It's going to be the Fangasms that take control 2-0 with another incredible comeback. There, it's going to be the Lamplighters versus Eclipse.
Lamplighters, the only team from the open qualifier to make it.
To steal the disc away, but ends up having a shift forward, and nicely done, Lemming. Eclipse is going to be moving forward into the grand final. A spot at the VRCL grand finals is on the line here for the winner of this matchup. And that's Eclipse starting it off with the lead. And he's here, but he can't take it. No! Yes! And it goes in. It's going to be a 2-pointer, so we're tied. And we go to overtime.
Sudden death.
To decide our winner.
Eyeshot is there. No, the goalie was done. The game is over.
Ladies and gentlemen, they are your North American Echo Arena regional champions.
You weren't wrong, Blue. That was a pretty sick stage. That was a pretty sick stage.
Reminds me of some other cool esports stages as well, I think.
Oh, I don't know which ones. I don't know which ones personally, but that stage looked awesome. Of course, the event looked great as well. You saw everyone so invested and so passionate about it. And I'm curious to see what games they might be talking about or releasing, or maybe some new technologies they will have as well at OC5, which, if I'm not mistaken, is coming up September 26, 27 from San Jose.
California?
California.
Oh, look at that.
Prize money.
$220,000.
We worked on this the entire taxi ride over here.
I just blew it.
Spoiled it at the end. But it's fine. It's fine. This is actually the last.
Like a lot of things in my life, really.
Are fine?
No, it just gets spoiled at the end. So.
Okay. Well, unfortunately, Blue, this is basically the end of the show now. It's been a nice 2 months. Anything you want to say before we do head off for our last time? We're not dying or something. I think that's the tone I'm kind of giving off. But last time here from Cologne before you do fly back to the States tomorrow.
Yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure to be bringing you guys the action throughout the entire season of the VR. And I just want to thank you guys all at home for tuning in throughout the action, both Echo Arena and Onward that we've been covering here over the past 2 months. And I'm looking forward to hopefully seeing you guys at the grand finals as well, which, as we mentioned, of course, plenty of times throughout this show, is going to be going on in just a couple of weeks' time from San Jose on September 26 and 27. And of course, we'll be streaming all the action right here on this channel.
Yeah, so thank you again, Blue, for joining me. It's been a pleasure for me personally. Thank you from myself as well to all of you guys tuning in for over the weeks and months we've now had over the course of the VR League and the VR Match League that we've been covering, as well production who have been sticking with us time and time again, day in and day out, doing this whole show. And of course, another big shout out to Intel for bringing us the entirety of the VR League. But guys, it's the last time we'll be saying goodbye here from the Cologne studios at ESL. And hopefully we'll be seeing you guys in a few weeks' time, the 26th, 27th September, Oculus Connect 5, San Jose, California.
$220,000.
$220,000.
One city. One stage. One trophy. One champion.
And another kill to find Fallen.
One moment. ESL 1 New York 2018.
Try box. Stairs, stairs, stairs.
Nothing great ever happened without a witness.
Oh, you guys saw that?
With the power to capture comes the need to share.
Check this.
Followed by the eyeballs and loud mouths chomping at the bit.
That was nuts.
The fate of the game rests in your hands.
Check this out. No.
Oh my god.
Leave nothing to chance. Game, record, and stream without compromise. Only on Intel Core i7.
Start your esports career now at play.eslgaming.com.